What's up, riders? Old Man Ronin here. Welcome back to the channel. You know, a question I get frequently via email or online is, the Himalayan a good everyday bike? Well, that's a good question. What you have to understand first is what makes an everyday bike. That's different for each person. So we're going to try to find out if the Himalayan fits your idea of an everyday bike. Just stay tuned.
So the question is the Royal Enfield Himalayan a good bike for everyday use? Well, we're going to find out today. We're going to take you along with me as we do a little bit of business trips. I'm heading over towards the Newark area of East Central Ohio and see exactly how she handles some of the different things we've got to do today. So, and it is a good bike. So what makes an everyday bike? I hear this a lot. People say, well, it's got to have storage, it's got to have this, got to have that. The Himalayan can have storage. Now, I don't have any panniers on it yet, or soft bags or anything like that. However, it is very possible to have those on this bike. In fact, that is kind of the look that you get most often with this bike is the look with the panniers on it for touring and light touring and things of that nature. So yeah, you can use it for that. I mean, but how many Sportsters out there have bags? How many Fat Boys have bags? How many of the other style bikes that you see, like the Shadows, have bags? Well, maybe about half of them. So when you look at that kind of ratio, yeah, this bike is very, very possible to have bags on it or panniers. And so, yeah, that can do that too. And what do you normally do on a motorcycle? That's the question. What do you normally do when you're riding a motorcycle? Usually you're riding back roads or having a lot of fun, going to and fro, maybe going to your favorite bar and having some brews with your buddies, or taking the wife out or girlfriend on a trip, or just riding with a group of people. Well, I've rode double up on this, and I'm well over 220 pounds, and my wife weighs whatever my wife weighs. And we've rode two up on this bike, and she even said, boy, it's more comfortable than the Softail, which, wow, that's a pretty strong statement. Now, we're not doing 70 mile an hour on the highway, but we are riding back roads and going to restaurants and places like that without any issue whatsoever. So yeah, the Royal Enfield can do two up, and just have to realize it does have limitations. But you're not going to take a 400cc motorcycle two up all the time anyways. It's 70 miles an hour plus, so that's the way I'm looking at it. Now, you can take it anywhere you want. Yeah, that's the issue, no issue whatsoever. But as far as riding two up, you're not going to take a 500 or a 400 or a 350 down the turnpike at 80 miles an hour. That's just not going to happen. Those bikes don't do it either. I don't care what brand it is. So the reality of it is, yeah, it'll do that as well too. So your next question is, well, what else will it do? Well, it's perfect for group rides. I mean, as long as you're not, like I say, going absolutely insane on the highway. But group rides, who really likes to go on group rides going down the interstate? I don't know. I don't like that. I mean, I love to go to a place and get there quick, yes, if I'm going to be hanging around an area. Like, but you know, when I've done some cross-country rides, in fact, I'm going to take one here in a couple years, or maybe, I don't know, I've got the big Trans-America Trail planned next year, but I am going to take another trip on I-20, or Route 20, I should say, Interstate 20, which is, and Interstate 40, which are the national roads, which are the first ones before the super highways, and they're mostly 2-lane. There's some places where it's 4-lane, but the reality of it is they run coast to coast, and I've been on those rides several times along with Route 66. And this bike would be perfect for that. You know, another place it'd be perfect for, think about the Blue Ridge Parkway, where the maximum speed limit is 45, or you know, or you'll get a ticket. But places like that, this place would be perfect for that, or this bike would be perfect for that. So those are the kind of things that this bike does, and you have to ask yourself, okay, what am I really doing with my motorcycle? Let's say you have a sport bike. Except for doing the wheelies, except for doing the high speeds at over 100 miles an hour, what else do you do with your bike? Well, you ride to and fro. You're not doing the 80 mile an hour all the time, are you? Well, if you are, then you're just playing with fate, if you ask my opinion. But if you are just riding the bike for everyday use, this bike will do that. Let's ask yourself if you've got yourself a fat boy. Now, are you running light to light with your fat boy? Are you cruising miles upon miles, crushing miles? Well, if you're not, this bike will do exactly what the fat boy will do. Okay, let's say you want to do cross-country highway riding, like on my Road King or my or a Road Glide or a Street Glide or a big Gold Wing. No, this one won't do it. I mean, it'll do it, but it's too hard on the bike. So that's one thing it won't do very well. But everything else that you can imagine, this bike can do, and do exceptionally well. Plus, you can take it off-road. How many times you running your fat boy out in the dirt? See what I mean? So people ask me all the time, is this a good everyday bike? Or is this a good beginner bike? Well, it's a good beginner bike, but it's also a good everyday bike. This thing can do anything that any other motorcycle can do, and plus. Now you can talk about other motorcycles like the Africa Twin and things of that nature, or the Ducati Multistrada or things like that. Yeah, you can mention those motorcycles, and they will actually do the highway, which this one won't do. But they are 3 times more expensive. So you have to ask yourself, do you ride every day? Is it worth $12,000 to $15,000 to get yourself into a motorcycle that you're only going to ride maybe a couple months out of the year? And if you do, are you ever traveling cross country? See, this is the questions I love to ask people. What are you going to do with your motorcycle? Where are you actually going to ride? And if you've been riding a long time, like I have, where do you always ride? Or for the most part, where are most of the roads that you ride on? Odds are they're not on the super highway all the time. Maybe once a year when you go out to Sturgis. A lot of guys are trailing their bikes now, so I mean, that is what it is. Nothing wrong with that. I don't have a problem with guys trailing their bikes. I mean, I actually have a trailer, but I've never trailered my bike anywhere. That may change. I am thinking about, we're actually going to Florida this December, and thinking about trailing the bike down there because last year, or 2 years ago, we were heading to Florida the same time of year, and we ended up having the Road King all packed up and ready to go, and boom, the day we were supposed to leave, we had 12 inches of snow, and it was snowy all the way down into North Carolina. And I told my wife, you know what, let's just drive. We got down there, we actually rented a bike from Eagle Rider in Orlando, and that's the first time I've ever ridden a Road Glide, and loved it. It was a fantastic motorcycle. I'm not a fairing kind of guy, but that was a good bike for that. But I'm trying to say to you is, most people that are taking long trips like that now are either using tow haulers or trailers, and they're having fun that way. So the reality of it is, what are you going to do with the bike? Are you going to be crushing highway? Then no, this isn't the bike for you. But if you're going to be using your bike around town, small little country rides, places, you know, scenic trips, bar hopping, things of that nature, man, this is the bike for you. And you can start with this bike or end with this bike. See, I'm at the twilight of my riding years. I'll probably ride till I'm 80. Huh. Who knows? But I'm over 60 years old right now, and this bike is really comfortable for me all the time. In other words, the Road King, I love it, heavier than heck, and the Road Glide's even heavier. But the reality of it is, I can ride this bike anytime, even if I feel a little bit sore. That's a good thing. So if you're older, you can get this bike. If you're younger, you can get this bike. If you're a new rider, you can get this bike. If you just want to save some money, but yet have a new bike, you should get this bike. This bike is a great everyday motorcycle. Now, I'm not getting paid by Royal Enfield. I have no ties for them whatsoever. I paid for my service when I took it to Royal Enfield of Columbus. I don't have any ties whatsoever with Royal Enfield. But what I do have ties with is right here in the old heart. You can't see me do that, but this bike is fun. It's exciting. It's inexpensive. It's inexpensive to maintain. Parts on it are fairly cheap. So think about that the next time. I mean, just on oil filters, just think of about on you know, simple parts with your Harley or your Honda. One of the things I loved about Harley Davidson so much, and I still do, is you can get parts way back into the 40s. There's parts everywhere, and the aftermarket support is huge. Now, the aftermarket support for this is not there yet, but it's growing. Places like Hitchcock's has got all kind of neat, cool little things to add to your bike and do your modifications and make it your own. And those things are coming because this is one of the hottest brands and hottest bikes in the world right now. And there's a very good reason for it. It's inexpensive, it's easy to get into, you can get into a motorcycle with a 2-year warranty, and when you buy it brand new, and even if you buy it used within that 2-year warranty with its first title, you still have that warranty until it runs out from the first day it's titled. So, I mean, how can you not love a motorcycle like that? Now you can say, well, it's not made in America. No, it's not. Most of the parts for Harley is made in Mexico. I hate to tell you that. And hopefully that'll change. And maybe someday, if Royal Enfield gets big enough, that they can move some of their manufacturing to the United States or North America. That would be awesome. They've got several brands that I'm really interested in, or not brands, but models. And one of them happens to be the Interceptor. I really love the way that bike looks. Their marketing campaign has been outrageous. And I don't want this to sound like a commercial for Royal Enfield, because like I said, I really don't have any ties to them whatsoever. I'm starting to fog up there. It's a little chilly out here today. But what I'm getting at is I don't have any ties to them other than the fact that I like the motorcycle. So I guess I'm becoming a fanboy of this bike, particularly the Himalayan. Now I have never ridden an Interceptor, so I really can't tell you what I like about that. But what I do like about this bike here is the fact that it's cost effective. Now I got it really, really cheap, but still, look at a brand new motorcycle for under $5,000, $5,500 with tax and everything. Yeah, and it can do anything you want it to do, except for 70-mile-an-hour highways. But you just seen I was on a highway a little bit ago there, and we were doing over 65 without a problem. So that's not an issue. It's the up in that 5,000 RPM and greater is where I would watch on this particular bike. But it is a bike that I think can be used every day of the week. It can be used for all purposes and plus. So when you think about what an everyday bike is, you have to ask yourself the question, what do I do with my motorcycle? What do I do with it? Is it a status symbol, or is it a way to get from point A to point B? Those are the questions you have to be aware of before you make any buying decision in particular. I mean, hey, why do I have the Deluxe? Well, because it looks freaking awesome. It doesn't ride as well as my Road King nor my Sportster, but I love the way it looks. So there's an emotional tie there. However, I bought it for next to nothing. So if you can't find that deal and you can only have one motorcycle in your life, ask yourself, what do you do with it? Well, let's say you already have a motorcycle and you want to have something to have some fun on, a second bike. This one here can fill that niche as well too. And I guarantee you when you're riding it, it's going to become quickly one of your favorite bikes to ride. You know, it's one of those type of things that when you ride a bike like this and you're so used to riding a certain brand for so many years, sometimes it's hard to change. And you know, they get that, I call it the Ford or Chevy syndrome, where you got to have a Ford and nothing else, or you got to have a Chevy and nothing else. The Harley life is like that too. You got to have a Harley or nothing else. I've never been there. I mean, I am definitely a Harley fanboy, or I like to call it a Harley-phile. I love my Harley Davidsons, and I always will. I'll never say that I'll ever get rid of any of them. I always have had a Harley, period, end of story, always. That's my number one love. However, this one's growing on me really fast. And again, I've only had this thing for a few months now, and putting miles on it has been a little bit difficult because of my work schedule and riding the other bikes, and then also doing some filming. But the reality of it is I'm getting more and more time on this bike. It is without a doubt my most popular YouTube videos are about the Himalayan, and I think the reason for that is because it is such a new and popular bike that people are fascinated by. You don't see them that often, but I think for sure you're going to. I think they're here to stay. unless something drastically happens, like a pandemic. But the reality of it is, I think that's something that you should at least check out. And you know, one of the cool things about Royal Enfield of Columbus is they do offer test rides, which a lot of dealers don't. You can't test ride an Indian anywhere that I've ever been to, and that's a shame, because I've always wanted to test ride one. I've never been on a modern Indian. Been on the older ones, never owned one. But man, you go in there and they say, well, we want money down on it. That's not me. But the reality of it is, you go to Royal Enfield of Columbus and they'll let you take a ride in it. But to get off that subject, to get back on why the Royal Enfield is something you should at least give a try to, you have to be aware that there's some funkiness, and that funkiness is it's got a strange sounding engine. I've ridden some single cylinder Hondas over the years, and I've ridden a Buell Blast, you know, with a single cylinder. And I've ridden some, you know, all my dirt bikes are all single cylinders, so there is a strange noise to it. But when you get over that slight little audible, that strange little noise, you'll realize that it's not really a big deal. In fact, it kind of grows on you. It's like, huh, this is pretty fun. It's got a unique sound, kind of like the Harleys were, I imagine, when they first started making the Evo engine. It was a different kind of a sound, and I'm pretty sure that people were a little, well, what the heck is that? That low, but that's the case. It is a unique motorcycle. Well, hey, guess what? We're going into a Honda dealership. What the heck is that all about? Got a meeting with for the food truck with one of the managers, so we're going to go on in here, and we'll be right back. Well, that was a lot of fun over there at John Hindera Honda, meeting Tanya, the general manager, and getting my passport book for the Ride United, which is a really cool thing that Licking County is putting on this year. Basically what it is they've got the 5 Pathfinder series, and they're going to different routes, and you donate $25 to United Way, and you get this little passport book that I'll put a picture of in the corner there, and you get a chance to win some prizes and support a good cause and have some fun riding all these really cool Pathfinder routes that I've been showing you over the last couple of weeks. I've done 2 so far. We're gonna have another one here in the next couple of weeks, and then another one after that, but it's all through the month of October is when this is going on. And like I say, it's a good chance to get some prizes. It's kind of, I hate to say it's like a poker run, but you get your passport book stamped at different locations, and then, like I say, you get a chance to win some really cool prizes, and more importantly, support a great organization of the United Way. Well, I really hope you enjoyed this video today. I know it was a little different, but I wanted to show you that this bike is an everyday bike, and it's very inexpensive everyday bike. So if you liked it, give us a big thumbs up. Make sure you subscribe, hit the bell notifications, share and comment. You know I read all the comments, and I try to comment on as many comments as I possibly can. Until next time, folks, ride safe and keep her on 2 wheels, baby.